Hello everyone, my name is Carl Johnson with Cleared Systems, and today we are going to discuss NIST 837 Revision 2. So, introduction. In this presentation we will cover the following: an introduction to NIST SP 837 Revision 2, the key concepts and objectives of the RMF, a detailed walkthrough of each RMF step, practical tips and best practices for successful implementation. Finally, we will conclude with a QA session. NIST 837 Revision 2 provides guidelines for applying the Risk Management Framework to federal information systems. The RMF integrates security and privacy into the system development lifecycle and emphasizes continuous monitoring. This framework helps organizations manage risk more effectively and ensure compliance with federal requirements. Some of the objectives of NIST SP 837 Revision 2 are to promote a unified information security and privacy framework, to ensure compliance with federal requirements, to support organizational risk management, and to enhance security and privacy throughout the system lifecycle. These objectives help organizations maintain a strong security posture and manage risk comprehensively. So, what are some of the RMF steps? The first is to prepare. Next, categorize information systems. Select security controls, implement security controls, assess security controls, authorize information system, and monitor security controls, which looks all like this. Now, a big emphasis is on monitoring and continuous monitoring. In the next few slides, we'll break down each of these steps. Let's start with step number 1, which is prepare to execute RMF. The first step is to prepare the organization to manage security and privacy risks using the RMF. This involves assigning roles and responsibilities, developing a risk management strategy, and establishing a continuous monitoring strategy. Proper preparation sets a strong foundation for the RMF process. Okay? And then step number 2, categorize information systems. With this step, we categorize the information system and the information it processes, stores, transmits based on an impact analysis. Activities include identifying information types, determining the impact level, and documenting the system categorization. Proper categorization helps in selecting appropriate security controls. Step number 3, select security controls. Next, we select the appropriate security and privacy controls based on the system categorization. This involves identifying baseline controls, tailoring them to specific needs, and developing a control implementation plan. Selecting the right controls is essential for effective risk management. As an example, depending on how you have selected your controls, it could look a little like this, which is an example breakdown. Doesn't have to be yours, but just an example breakdown. In step number 4, we want to implement security controls. And the activities include applying security controls, documenting control implementation, and integrating controls into the system lifecycle. Thorough documentation is critical for future assessments. For step number 5, assess security controls. We then assess the security and privacy controls to determine their effectiveness. This involves developing an assessment plan, conducting control assessments, and preparing an assessment report. Assessing controls helps ensure they are implemented correctly in operating as intended. Step number 6, authorize information system. The next step is to authorize the information system operation based on a determination of the risk to organizational operations, assets, individuals, and other organizations and the nation. This involves preparing an authorization package, submitting it to review, and determining risks to issue an authorization decision. Step number 7, monitoring security controls. The final step is to monitor the security and privacy controls in the information system on an ongoing basis. This includes developing a monitoring strategy, conducting ongoing assessments, updating security and privacy documentation, and reporting the security and privacy status. Continuous monitoring ensures that controls remain effective over time. Okay, so now let's talk about some practical tips and best practices. Here are some I think that are the most important. One is to engage stakeholders early and often to ensure buy-in and support. I can't tell you how many times an organization has tried to deploy any framework, security framework, but does not have executive buy-in first. Leveraging automation tools. There are many tools out there that will help you when it comes time to implementing RMF. Don't think that you need to use Excel spreadsheets and go through each control one by one. Many of the tools nowadays, especially for Microsoft, help by doing it automatically for you. But as an assessor, you still need to go through and make sure it's done correctly and that there are no false positives. Integrate RMF activities into system development lifecycle. I think the hardest part at times is to slow down and deploy security, compliance, privacy into your current system lifecycle, which sometimes does slow business down a bit, but in the long run, it keeps your organization safe and secure. Maintain clear and comprehensive documentation. No one likes to document. So document early, document often, and as you're developing your security plan, have a dedicated team member or group responsible for documentation. Come together as a team, whether it's daily or weekly, to make sure that everything has been documented. Most importantly, foster a culture of continuous improvement. Like many frameworks, it's not a one-time and forget it. The organization itself has to be behind the RMF and wanting improvement. So this includes having not only stakeholders, but users to get involved, whether that's having status meetings on the different improvement and what needs to improve. Either way, everyone needs to be involved. So in conclusion, we discussed an overview of NIST SP 837 Revision 2 in the RMF process, detailed steps of the RMF implementation, practical tips for successful adoption, and I'm going to leave a few minutes for some questions that we have, and I'm going to just look at our chat and see if we have any questions. For everyone else, thank you very much for attending and have a great day.